It's become so competitive on YouTube with massive amounts of free content uploaded every single second on this platform, and authorities and influencers popping up in every single industry. And I'm sure you've asked yourself, with so much free content, why would anyone actually pay for my knowledge? As someone who has generated tens of millions of dollars in the online education space, and I have taught thousands of people all over the world how to turn their expertise into profitable online education businesses, I can tell you there are a few key reasons why people will pay for your knowledge and expertise. Number one, information overload. They can't find the right help without sifting through thousands of options available to them. Number two, guru fatigue. They have no idea who to trust because there's just too many people out there. Number three, DIY disaster. Trying to piece together the information they need can lead to disastrous outcomes and a much longer path to their goal than desired. And number four, outcome impatience. They don't have time to waste watching a bunch of different videos to try and solve their problem. To better understand how YouTube works hand in hand with actually monetizing your expertise, you need to understand that free content is information. Paid content creates a transformation. If you didn't have a chance to watch last week's video on smart marketing, I talked in depth about this in that video. Now that you know why people will pay for your knowledge, how do you actually monetize your knowledge, your expertise, your brain on YouTube? This is the A to Z process of doing just that. And if you're serious about doing this, I put together a free guide with a bulletproof business plan with the 10 steps to scale your skill set and 10x your impact without trading time for money. Comment below with ebook and we'll send you the direct link to grab it. The first thing you need to understand about YouTube is sharing your knowledge isn't enough. Most people think that by sharing their knowledge on YouTube, they can make a full-time income. And yes, it's possible, but it requires time, patience, and understanding that on average, you're making 1 to 3 cents per view. To put that in perspective, even if you have a video that generates 100,000 views, you are making roughly between $1,000 and $3,000 from that video. Now, obviously that can change slightly depending on different variables, but it is a good gauge to have to understand that it's hard enough to get views on YouTube, but to know that you have to get to that level to actually make a decent income puts things in perspective. Instead, the model that I use, and I've taught thousands of people, looks like this. Share your expertise for free on YouTube, which leads to a global customer reach, and provide them with a productized version of your knowledge or expertise. And this leads to unlimited earning potential. When I say productize your knowledge, it means taking your expertise and packaging it into an online program or an online course. In order to do so, you need to understand that there are a certain sequence of events that have to take place. You can't just slap together an online course and hope that it sells just because you have an audience. There are particular steps that need to be taken, and most importantly, you really need to have honed your expertise and experience to be able to teach it to others. And so the process needs to go from you have been through the mastery phase where you are learning every single thing about your skill set, your subject matter, your expertise. And then you go into creating your particular and unique method to get results using that skill set or expertise, which allows you to then mentor others to be able to do the same. And you can teach that skill set and expertise to others to get them the result or the transformation that they're seeking. But in order to do this the most effective way, you have to understand that you're not going down the path of being a content creator whose main objective is the amount of eyeballs they can get on their content. You are now going down the path of the business owner, which allows you to monetize based on the accuracy and intent of the eyeballs on your content. So how do you take a stranger on the internet and turn them into a trusted paying client for your online program using YouTube? This is where we dig into the global customer reach. This is where we need to focus on what I call algorithm accuracy. So you need to get into the mind of your ideal client and your ideal buyer for your online program and think through the challenges, the frustrations, and the pain points that they are dealing with when they are seeking out help. They are seeking out a solution because your content should be the solution they are seeking. And the beauty of YouTube is when they get onto this platform and they are seeking out solutions, they are looking at different videos, yours can stand out as the option that they then click on, which makes you an immediate authority to that person. So to put this really simply, the relevancy of the topics of your YouTube videos to your ideal client and the pain points and challenges they are facing are in direct correlation to how successful your YouTube videos will be in terms of turning a stranger into a client on YouTube. So to further make this point super clear, I'm actually going to give you a real example. I work with a doctor. He has an online course that helps women over 35 who have a specific condition get pregnant naturally. He uses his free YouTube content to reach his ideal client. And he has generated just under $1.5 million with his online course alone in the last 2 years. Now, the free content on his YouTube channel is the content that is the most specific to his ideal client and the specific challenge that they are facing. So specifically, those topics can look like how to get pregnant over 35, or getting even more specific, how to increase low AMH levels after 35. So why is this so important? Well, because the more specific you are in your content, of course, it's going to attract more of the right ideal client, but that doesn't necessarily translate into views. And oftentimes people think if they're not getting a ton of views on their videos, they're failures, when in reality, getting the right views on your videos as a business owner and entrepreneur is the real key to success. But more importantly than that, it's so vital to do this the right way because of how the YouTube algorithm actually works. YouTube likes to categorize your channel based on 2 key components: your audience and your content. In order for the algorithm to work in your favor, you need to control the audience that is watching your content as much as possible. And the way that you do this is through your content, specifically the video topics and titles you choose. I like to use this visual to illustrate how you achieve the right growth on YouTube to attract clients on autopilot. To understand, you first start with search traffic. So when you're starting from zero on YouTube, or even if you have an established audience but you're not getting clients from it, you need to make sure you're focusing on topics that are highly relevant to what your ideal client would be seeking out and searching for on YouTube, because this makes you discoverable in the search results on the platform, and it gets people who have never heard of you before to click on your videos. That then builds an audience of relevant, ideal viewers and clients from your initial videos, and they start then seeing all of your future videos pop up in browse and suggested, and they start watching them regularly. This builds you an army of ideal viewers who engage with your videos and feed the algorithm with data, so it pushes your video in the traffic sources to more viewers just like them. So ultimately, when you're really specific about the content you're creating, you're getting the algorithm to work in your favor to reach more people without you having to do as much work. So it's important to understand the risk and the rewards of the content that you are going to create on YouTube. In order to show you this, I want to show you what we call the content scaling funnel, and I'm going to use the example that I shared earlier. So a top of the funnel video would be how to get pregnant. This is going to equate to a ton of eyeballs, but the problem is they're going to be all different viewer avatars. They could be watching this in a sex ed class in high school, could be teenagers, could be a 20-year-old virgin. You have no idea who's watching that video. The middle of the funnel content could be how to get pregnant in your 30s. This is going to attract eyeballs, and it's pretty close to the ideal target and ideal client you want watching it, but it's not quite specific enough. The bottom of the funnel content would be how to get pregnant over 35 with low AMH. This is a bullseye video topic because it's attracting the right eyeballs, the right audience, and it's super specific to your ideal clients' pain points and needs, which means that there is a high intent from them to watch the video, watch it in its entirety, and tell the algorithm that you are the expert on this topic, which then in turn is going to help your videos reach more of those right ideal clients. And even further to that, it takes the journey of taking a stranger on the internet and turning them into a paying client, and it shortens that journey. Because if someone's coming in just to learn how to get pregnant, we have no idea where they're at in their life or why they're seeking out this information. So their process to go from stranger to client is probably going to be pretty long. Whereas someone coming in who is over 35 and has low AMH is in the exact spot they need to be in order to become a perfect client. So the path to go from stranger to paying client is much shorter. So yes, you can focus on a mixture of different types and tiers of content, but if you only ever focus on reaching a broad, wide audience, you're actually killing your channel's ability to reach the right people in the algorithm because you're not feeding YouTube with the right information of who you're actually trying to reach and what those people need to be seeking out. If this is all making sense, I want you to comment with light bulb in the comment section below. It helps me know that what I'm saying is actually landing, because this is so important to not wasting your time on this platform. This is why it's so important on YouTube to focus less on the quantity of views and so much more on the quality and accuracy of the views you are getting. So yes, there is the process of finding the right keywords and tags and all of those things, but at this point, those things are secondary to the relevancy of the topic that you are creating for your YouTube video to your ideal client. Relevancy is king, which is why the metrics for your videos no longer are solely based on views. If you're only determining the success of your YouTube video based on the amount of views that you're getting, you are going to give up and quit, and you're going to lose out on so many potential clients. So the only metrics that you really need to focus on and care about in terms of your channel are the retention rate, so how much of the video are people actually watching, the demographic you're reaching, who is watching, how old are they, where are they watching from, and is it a match for your ideal client, and then qualitative feedback, which means are people leaving thoughtful and in-depth comments on your videos? If they are, that is a major sign that you're reaching the right people. So it's really important to identify the topic and category that you want to own on YouTube to solidify yourself as the authority on this platform. And when you do this correctly, it generates new leads on autopilot for your business because you'll build so much authority by giving so much quality data to the YouTube algorithm that you're going to start popping up and your videos are going to start surfacing in all of the different traffic sources for your ideal client without you having to take the extra effort to actually push them into any of those places. You just inherently become the go-to authority and YouTube knows that. So then you start popping up everywhere your ideal client is looking, which means that every single day, all day, people from all over the world who are seeking out your help, your expertise, your knowledge are going to be discovering you, your authority, and your videos on autopilot all day long, which then puts them into the pipeline of potential clients. And why I said earlier that the process really is share your expertise for free on YouTube, which leads to global customer reach, and you can deliver them the productized version of your knowledge in an online course, which equals unlimited earning potential. And this is what we like to call the stalker strategy, which means that you want to show up everywhere that your ideal client is going to be looking on YouTube. So how do you do this? Well, first and foremost, the simplest exercise that you can do is to identify the pain points, problems, and questions that your ideal client is struggling with, and those become your most high converting video topics. If you create broad or general content on YouTube, you're essentially going from floating at the top of the search results to sinking in a sea of content and never being found. To show you how the algorithm really works and how you can gain momentum in reaching more of your ideal client on autopilot on this platform, I want you to understand this flywheel. So it starts with knowing your ideal viewer and ideal client inside and out, then making hyper-relevant content for that ideal client, which then creates algorithm categorization. And you're placed into a certain category by the algorithm to be the authority on that topic, which means that YouTube will start using its internal traffic sources to push more of your ideal viewer to your content. And it creates this forward momentum and this autopilot engine to grow your channel and grow your reach to the right people without any extra effort. So regardless of the amount of views you're generating the right views, which is how our clients are able to generate upwards of $10,000 a month while only having less than 1,000 subscribers. And to pull all the puzzle pieces together, you need to understand that you can own your audience and you shouldn't be borrowing it, which I want to get into in just a second. But just a reminder, if you haven't done so yet, I've created a bulletproof business plan with the 10 steps to scale your skill set and 10x your impact without trading time for money. Just comment below with ebook, and we'll send you the link to download that free guide. So when I say own your audience, don't just borrow it. We're gonna focus on productizing your knowledge. It's one thing to be found on YouTube all day long by your ideal client, but if people are just watching your videos and then forgetting about you, you are leaving income and impact on the table. So it's important to own your audience and not just borrow it, because you don't own YouTube. You don't own the platform, you don't own the algorithm, and you surely don't own your audience here. So you have to take them on the path from stranger to potential client. And what that path looks like is content, community, conversion. From YouTube and from your videos, you want to offer a relevant resource that would take your stranger who finds you on the internet and turn them into a part of your community, which then nurtures them into eventually becoming a client when they are ready. This can look like in your YouTube video, offering an additional resource like a PDF guide, a checklist, an ebook, or even a webinar. In order for the viewer to access that free resource, they need to sign up to your email list, which then builds a community of ideal clients that you actually do own, which then allows you to own your audience with the audience ownership trifecta. So you have YouTube, you have relevant content, and in the middle of that, you're capturing these people who are strangers into your email list so that they become a part of the community moving forward, which allows you to then leverage the audience ownership trifecta. So you have YouTube, you create relevant content on YouTube, which leads people to being on your email list. And there are so many advantages to this. Not only is it creating a community of potential buyers for your business, but it is also allowing you to send your new YouTube content moving forward, your new YouTube videos, to this hyper-targeted email list. So you have this built-in audience that you have created, and that audience is going to be super interested in all content moving forward, which means they're going to drive positive signals to the algorithm on YouTube that this content is perfect for this kind of client, which means YouTube's going to push it to more of those people. And it's really important to put it into perspective, because I know it's easy to focus on views on this platform because it is a vanity metric and it's an outdated metric that is focused on by way too many creators to be the be all end all of their success. But when you have a business, when you have a product associated with your YouTube channel, views just are not the metric to focus on. And a really great way to understand this is to focus on what your income goals are. So depending on how much you want to make from your business, you need to understand, okay, how can I work backwards from there to actually generate that using my YouTube channel? So let's say that you want to make $10,000 a month and you're selling your online program for $2,000. This means you just need 5 ideal clients to view your content and purchase your program, which takes the pressure off of the amount of views you need and again, helps you focus on the accuracy of the views. And the process to take that person and turn them into a buyer, it's either going to be what we spoke about already, so YouTube video to email list to eventual client, or YouTube video to client, which means that you would send them directly to a buy now button, or you would send them to a link to apply to get on a discovery or strategy call with you. That's how you monetize your knowledge on YouTube, but of course, it's really just the tip of the iceberg. So if you actually want to implement this, comment below right now with ebook if you haven't done so already, or you can grab the direct link to download that free bulletproof business plan in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was super helpful. I live for your light bulb moments, so please tell me what your key takeaways were in the comments, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.